Okay, so Beyond the Spider-Verse has to succeed, and there is no other way around it. One thing is certain in modern day comic book films is that, well, let's just say superhero and multiverse fatigue is definitely real. I never thought I'd see the day when superhero fatigue would genuinely be a thing. But the thing is, most really bad superhero movies nowadays are really getting called out for being bad. I think The Flash is a very prime example of a recent superhero movie that if it's bad, it's gonna flop, and audiences just aren't gonna watch it just because it's a superhero movie or it has Marvel or DC attached to it. Before in Hollywood, you could pretty much get away with just being a bad movie as long as you had Marvel or DC attached to it. A few examples of this are obviously a bunch of the Thor movies, Captain Marvel, which is arguably one of the weakest MCU movies. Batman v Superman made quite a bit of money despite it not reaching what Warner Bros. Wanted it to reach. But those movies financially didn't really do that badly, especially Captain Marvel, which did over $1 billion worldwide. But the thing is now, The Flash is a prime example of a movie that you can't just throw Marvel or DC on it and it'll do well. No, if the movie is poor received or if it has poor marketing, people won't go and watch the movie and it will flop. And we're seeing this happen time and time again, and it's becoming more common in modern day Hollywood, especially when it comes to superhero movies. And not only that, we are also at a point in time now where multiverse fatigue is definitely real. High Top Films' most recent video about the multiverse really highlighted this issue really well, so I want to reference this here and not really reiterate what he had to say. But in a nutshell, essentially what he said is that we ourselves, the audience, are the problem for the multiverse fatigue. We glorify cameos and we glorify fan service and we hype it up over actual good stories. And it definitely seemed for a while that whether it was Tobey or Andrew showing up in Spider-Man No Way Home, or whether it was Patrick Stewart showing up and dying in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, fans would absolutely revel in it because we got to see our favorite characters from previous movies get a second time in the spotlight to shine. Or die, whichever way you want to see that. However, the one franchise that has stood the test of the multiverse fatigue and all the overhyped nature of the live-action multiverse shenanigans are the animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Both movies are as good as each other, and I've made many videos in the past talking about why these movies succeed and why they are just good movies in general. And admittedly, at first, I was a little worried for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I was scared that when Across the Spider-Verse came round, Phil Lord and Chris Miller would find themselves in the trap of the multiverse cameo fest, and they would prioritize showing off new worlds and new Spider-Men and all these different cameos from all the different franchises that we love over great storytelling. But when the movie came out, that definitely did not seem to be the case. In fact, it was the complete opposite. We were blown completely out the water, and arguably Across the Spider-Verse is better than Into the Spider-Verse. However, this is where Beyond the Spider-Verse can't fail, because apart from Across the Spider-Verse, the recent flood of multiversal superhero movies have been absolutely dreadful. The Flash, once again, as a key example of a multiversal movie that is just cameo-fested and overhyped. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness also fell into this same category, with the movie not really living up to expectations. And to an extent, She-Hulk followed a same sense of self-awareness, which also was its downfall. And I'm also scared that Loki Season 2, I'm scared that Kang Dynasty, and I'm scared that Avengers Secret Wars will all follow in those same footsteps. So the one outlier, the one piece of hope that we have as fans is Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is the last slither of hope that multiverse has any significance when it comes to superhero comic book storytelling on the big screen. It's really a shame because the Spider-Verse movies have found themselves in a period of time where the multiverse was all of a sudden the most popular thing to do when it came to making a comic book movie. But the thing was, when Into the Spider-Verse came out, they didn't follow a trend. They didn't follow it because it was the most popular thing to do. No, the Spider-Verse movies utilized the Spider-Verse as a storytelling device because that's what Into the Spider-Verse and the creatives behind it wanted to tell. That was a part of the story. It wasn't a studio mandate. It was a part of the cinematic experience. And I know I'm getting really pretentious here, and call me out if you want because I'm using really big words. But the thing is Into the Spider-Verse was really good, and Across the Spider-Verse was really, really good. And it wasn't because of the multiverse, it was because they were good stories. But now we find ourselves in a patch where the multiverse is slowly being drained to the point that it may end up getting killed off for good in the next few years. And I wish, and I pray, and I hope that Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse can almost revive the multiverse. If the multiverse has any slither of hope of continuing to be able to tell stories in the superhero medium, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse is the movie that needs to save it. If Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse does not live up to the expectations, does not live up to Into and Across the Spider-Verse, I think we could say goodbye to the multiverse as a whole for a very, very long time, if not forever. Forget Kang Dynasty, forget Secret Wars, forget Hugh Jackman's Wolverine meeting Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. The Spider-Verse movies are some of the best superhero movies in the last 20 years. And I don't care what anyone says, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse will be the most narratively groundbreaking movie about the multiverse in the next 10 years. Forget Secret Wars, forget Kang Dynasty, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse has to be good because of the reputation that those Spider-Verse movies have now gotten. And if even the best of the best can fall to multiverse and cameo-infested fatigue, then there really is no hope for multiversal stories. So I reiterate, and I stress once again, Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse can't fail. But that begs the question, what if it does? What if Beyond the Spider-Verse does fail? What could we be looking at in terms of superhero movies? Well, it could either go one or two ways. The first thing that could happen, and by far probably the worst scenario, is we know studios don't really like to listen to the fans, and we also know that the studios aren't very clever when it comes to assuming what the fans want. We definitely know that last part. And I'm afraid that maybe the studios will start pumping more cameos into the stories, making them even worse. And the second thing that could happen, and probably the more likely option, is we'll get more grounded, more solo act stories, where cameos aren't the main focus of what drives the audience to go and see the movie. That is the ideal world, but we may have to sacrifice the multiverse as a concept to go forward. And it really sucks because the multiverse is a great concept. The idea of the multiverse is so creative. The endless possibilities that you can do with the multiverse are at your fingertips. But the studios, they just want to show Tobey Maguire again. They just want to show Michael Keaton's Batman. That's all they care about. And unfortunately, because of the fatigue, because of the cameo-infested movies, maybe in the next 10 years, if all else fails, if Beyond the Spider-Verse proves that the multiverse will eventually die, that maybe we might have to go back to just single, solo, grounded stories. And you know, that wouldn't be a bad thing. But I really, really like the idea of the multiverse. And I really like the idea of Beyond the Spider-Verse almost saving it in a way. So yes, Beyond the Spider-Verse can't fail. And because of the weight and because of the responsibility that this movie holds on its shoulders, I reckon it'll probably be one of the most influential superhero movies of the 21st century. And if it's good, it will show that the multiverse can be done right in a time where the multiverse is all but failing in modern day Hollywood. Thank you for watching this video. If you did enjoy, make sure to like on it and also make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comment section down below, what are your thoughts on the multiverse, and do you think it will eventually die? Do you reckon Beyond the Spider-Verse will succeed? Will it not succeed? I wanted my little 2 cents on the multiverse because people have been talking recently about the multiverse and about how it's gonna die and, you know, how it should kind of be taken and reduced from superhero movies, and I totally agree, but I also think that the multiverse has so much potential, and I think Beyond the Spider-Verse could have a massive part to play in whether superhero movies in the future continue doing the multiverse. With that being said, thank you guys for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care and peace.